But then man encountered snow, and the sobering realization that man cannot traverse by feet alone. Inventive creature that he is, man sought to adapt conventional modes of vehicular transportation for usage on snow. Conventional modes of vehicular transportation didn't make it either. But at what might have been his moment of deepest despair, he picked himself up from the depths, discarded all his preconceived notions, and set off to invent the snowmobile. Some of his efforts were, well, imaginative.
And we go forget that drive on the night in our little canoe. One of blue eyes lost their life as we drifted adieu. When I hear a lonesome song, something's wrong. Blue river, maybe it's because I'm just as blue as you.
Was this fellow, Edgar Hateen. In 1960, Edgar took off on the first real cross-country snowmobile trek. He selected Alaska because it was the perfect proving grounds for testing some of the unknowns about extended snowmobile operation. Spark plugs, different grades of oil, thermocouples, and the wear factor on cleats. And so from the Bering Sea coast, he logged over 1,100 miles and brought snowmobiling its first real national publicity. The trip proved to Edgar that there was indeed a future for the snowmobile. The trip proved to the people that Edgar worked for that he was some kind of a nut, and they fired him. So Edgar did exactly what any red-blooded American boy would have done under the same circumstances. He came back and started the Arctic Cat Company. And before long, there were little beauties like this tripping gracefully over the snow. This is the original Arctic Cat, Model 450. And this is the famous Model 100, the first cat with front engine mount. Sort of the Tin Lizzie of the snowmobile world. At the first public display of a snowmobile, during the 1957 Sportsman Show in Minneapolis, it drew curious crowds. But no one could bring themselves to ask what it was. The two most common questions were, how fast will it go? To which the answer was 15 miles an hour, and will it go on water? The answer to that one was, sure, if it's cold enough outside. Nobody seems to know what happened between 1965 and 1966. But with the introduction of Arctic Cat's Panther, snowmobiling busted out of the dark ages. Today, snowmobiling has put winter right back on the map. Incidentally, if most of the machines you see here seem to be Arctic Cats, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, as you've probably figured out, we're paying for this film. And the other reason is that there just are more and more cats out there in the world today. Probably because a lot of things have been happening to and for snowmobiling in a place called Thief River Falls, Minnesota. Famous for all kinds of things that don't leap immediately to mind. And for one thing that does. It's the home of Arctic Cat. I mean, you've met our founder, so now you have to see the factory, right? Yes, this is where Arctic Cat puts it all together, including the famous Kawasaki engine. We knew that the Kawasaki was the engine we really wanted. But for a while, certain obstacles stood in the way of our getting together. But that's all settled now. Yes, this is some kind of factory. But the guys at Arctic say it's these people who make the difference. Skilled craftsmen who turn out I don't know how many snowmobiles every day. Well, I do know, but I'm not going to say it. I mean, you're okay, but that guy sitting next to you just might be from Skidoo. Yes, these people are the key. Dedicated people. In fact, the guys at Arctic say that for these people, making snowmobiles ranks right up there with sex. That's what they say. But you almost have to believe it when you tick off some of the snowmobiling firsts that happened right here in Thief River Falls. Slide rail suspension? Everybody laughed. But not today. The riveted aluminum body, the first American front engine mount, front ski shocks, they all started here. And they were all tested here.
I got to Thief River on a Friday. For Saturday I'd learned a thing or two. 'Cause up to then I didn't have an idea what making snowmobiles was coming to. They got a bunch of engineers that work day and night. Hardly ever even let them out. The 1,000 of them gadgets there are really quite a sight. But that's what's staying out in front about. Everything's up to date in Arctic, yeah. They go beyond where other fellers stop. They let go of the Arctic test from 3 feet off the ground, about as far as a snowmobile should drop. Everything's up to date in Thief River. It's almost like when them invented snow. They're working on some cypress plants way on down the line, and some of them send a happy shiver down your spine. They're working beams and lasers, or with bale and wire and twine. They go about as far as they can go. Yes, sir. They go about as far as they can go.
And they were all proven here by Arctic Cat's demanding test drivers. Just as new innovations and tomorrow's breakthroughs are being tested right now. Tested for tougher things than you'll use the machine for.
They're working hard to keep the cat, the finest in the land. They're planning things for snowmobiles they never yet been planned. They're thinking thoughts that even they don't fully understand. They go about as far as they can go. Yes, sir. They go about as far as they can go.
Cat testing is the racetrack. Engineers from Thief River follow the racing circuit very closely, with an eye and a stopwatch on new components or experimental features that often show up in next year's production model. Ideas back to the drawing board, where some pretty exciting things are constantly taking shape for the snowmobile of the future. That's the room where they build the prototype models for the years ahead. Maybe we could get a peek at some of it. Well, perhaps not. But perhaps you'll settle for a glimpse at a couple of 2,000-pound super snowmobiles. The turbine-powered Boss Cat 1 is 18 feet long and delivers up to 1,000 horsepower. In 1971, it set the world snowmobile speed record of 125.87 miles an hour. Boss Cat 2, a supercharged V8 beauty, is 23 feet long and has been clocked at 139.2 miles an hour. Okay, where do we go from here? Well, needless to say, we've got some confidential ideas about that. one thing we can say for certain. Man has found a pretty exciting way to beat beat.